Major funding for this program is provided by grants from HSH Nordbank and First American Title Insurance Company of New York, Perfect Building Maintenance, Allied Partners, Murray Hill Properties, Bank of America, SJP Properties, Greenberg TRAURIG. Additional funding for this program is made possible by grants from Arbor Realty Trust, BRT Realty Trust, Burden LLP, C.B. Richard Ellis, City Habitats, City Investment Fund, Cushman & Wakefield, Eastern Consolidated, Essex Capital Partners, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, MASSEY KNAKAL Realty Services, Meridian Capital Group, McSam Hotel Group, Muss Development LLC, Newmark Knight Frank, PALIN Enterprises, Rosenthal & Rosenthal Inc., Signature Bank, Sidney Fettner Associates, Studley, Stonehenge Partners, SWIG Equities, Extreme Contracting and Deconstruction.
Hello, my name is Michael Stoller, host of the Stoller Report, Real Estate Trends in the Tri-State Region. Everybody loves Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. We got the borough president. But what's happening? What's happening in downtown Brooklyn? What's happening with commercial development? There's a lot of things happening, and we're going to really learn about it today with this group of distinguished guests. My guests include Mr. Brooklyn, the borough president of Brooklyn, Marty Markowitz, Ken Bernstein, the president and CEO of Arcadia Realty Trust, Ian Levine, CFO of RAL Companies, and last but definitely not least, a many-time returnee, the Grand Poobah, the principal of Muss Development, Joshua Muss. Since I picked on you just now, you were the man in 1998 who opened up the first hotel in about 50 years. I mean, Marty and I remember the Half Moon Hotel in Coney Island, but you opened up the first hotel. And then last year you put up some more rooms. And you once said to me, the only reason I built the hotel is because I had to build the hotel. What happened that you put some more rooms? Things must be good.
Actually, the rooms now fit the facility that was developed. We built a building which had over 30,000 square feet of conference space and the fourth largest ballroom in New York City. And the amount of rooms that we built was not sufficient. We had 380 rooms. It was not sufficient to bring in the conferences, bring in the conventions, and at the same time bring a good return. While it was doing well, the infrastructure was very costly.
But I think, you know, Josh, that really brings out an interesting point. You're saying you're getting in Brooklyn, which is the fourth largest business district in the city, the third largest shopping center, shopping district in downtown Brooklyn, with over 100,000 shoppers and everything. You're getting conferences. Who are these conferences from?
Oh, I was there today. The hotel was packed. It was New York Technology. It was I don't even know from where they came, but every nook of the hotel was packed with professionals looking over computers, and I really can't tell you. I should have prepared better. Last week there was another huge convention, which last year was in LA. It had to do with the television and movie engineers and their technology. These are people who didn't have the facility to come to New York previously because they got lost in the huge hotels, and our hotel was perfect for them.
And you know what? As a testament to Marty and everybody who's working in Brooklyn, people would at one time only want to go to a conference, you know, in Manhattan. They had to go to the Hyatt, or they had to, you know, go to the Marriott, the other Marriott, you know, Marquis, you know, or something like that, or the Sheraton. Now they go to Brooklyn.
Well, when they stay at the hub, and we'll call ourselves the hub right now, they're several blocks from Brooklyn Heights and the Promenade. Within 2 minutes, they're walking over the Brooklyn Bridge. They walk down to Smith Street with restaurants that rival anywhere in the country. They have shopping at the Atlantic Avenue and the Fulton Mall, so that within a 5-block radius, there's more diversity in terms of things to do than anywhere else in the country. Brooklyn is a self-contained city. Downtown Brooklyn is.
Fulton Mall. You, who has an office in Westchester, we do shows about Westchester, are going in the Fulton Mall. And what are you doing over there?
And to take a step back, we're making a huge commitment to Brooklyn in many different projects we're working on in Canarsie, Brooklyn. We were talking about that before, as well as the Bronx, Staten Island, Queens. So we think that overall, from a retail perspective, New York City is under-retailed, and the national retailers that we work with throughout our company and throughout the country are going to do very well here, and there's very strong demand.
I realize
no place
but in
more
downtown,
so,
in
right,
downtown
no
Brooklyn.
place more so than downtown Brooklyn. Fulton Street is a fabulous retail corridor, the Fulton Mall. It's effectively an open-air mall that rivals almost any other mall in terms of sales per square foot. I'm hearing quotes as high as $1,000 per square foot in sales. So it's a fabulous existing retail experience that is ripe to change and ripe to get to the next level that will provide the community, and as that community changes, with a better shopping experience. So we're very excited about it.
And tell my audience what you're doing specifically. City Point?
Right. The project's called City Point. It's a 1.5 million square foot development. It's going to have approximately 500,000 square feet of retail, 125,000 square feet of office, and about 900,000 square feet of rental housing.
No hotel.
Right now, there's no hotel planned.
Please,
Josh
the
can have
best
a hotel.
hotel is there. Okay.
So-
and what type of retailers? You said national retailers. Are we talking about the Targets of the world, that type of department store?
Here's the exciting thing. It can run the gamut, and we're working with a wide variety of tenants right now. And if you look at the existing tenants that are on Fulton Mall, including Macy's today, on through to some of the tenants that should be there, we can provide a 100,000 square foot footprint, which is pretty unique to downtown Brooklyn. So we can provide opportunity for some of the larger tenants, as well as any of the other smaller tenants who want to be in a new facility with an office building there and a fabulous rental complex.
You know, it's very interesting. As I said the other day, I was in downtown Brooklyn because I always go down there to look before the show, and Fulton Mall at 5 o'clock in the afternoon was packed. Macy's, which I still call A&S because I'm a Brooklyn boy remembering it, was crowded. But I didn't see as many national retailers that you speak about. There were a lot of the locals. There was a Dr. J's. There was a baker, a shoe store. A lot of people, you know, the Foot Locker and everything else. But I didn't see a Gap. I didn't notice a Gap. I didn't see a Banana Republic or an Old Navy or that type of store or the Victoria's Secret. And I think some of those will go into your City Point,
yeah,
and some of them will go on this redeveloped new Fulton Mall or other properties, because you said, Josh, you're going to be announcing a new tenant in your 45,000 square feet over there.
Well, Ken's project is on one side of downtown Brooklyn and Flatbush Avenue. About 5 blocks to the west, I believe, is Adams Street, where we're located. He's going to build an anchor tenant. We have a 45,000 square foot retail presence on Adams Street, which is going to be upscale. The Downtown Brooklyn Partnership is talking with the city to convert the municipal building into a major retail presence, so that as the new people move into Brooklyn, and there are thousands coming, the buildings are being built, as the perception of the retail grows, there's going to be a major transformation.
I mean, Trader Joe's has announced they're moving into the old headquarters of the bank, the Independence Bank, which I think is going to be great. You know, Ian, you're in Brooklyn Bridge Park. You have 70,000 square feet.
And I think, you know, stepping back for a second, going back to what Josh was saying and what Ken was saying, the fact that there are so many local mom and pop retailers in the area really creates a sense of community, which I think a lot of people are moving to Brooklyn for. I think some people lost or felt disconnected in the city at some points and are moving towards, well, our project and other projects in the area. And whether it be the tree-lined streets or, you know, the sense of overall community, both within our project with the size and the number of units we have, and then also when you walk the streets and walk into the local stores, you feel a part of something. And it's that connection to the community that I think draws national retailers, but also keeps a sense of the local mom and pop that makes people feel comfortable and at home.
You know, I have to agree with you 100%. Many years ago, my sister-in-law lived in the XLAX building, the old XLAX, and it was converted by, what's his name? You remember the former, he was a politician once, and he owns a number of restaurants. And nice conversion.
Kretschmer.
Jerry Kretschmer.
Yeah.
And she moved to Denver, and on one of my trips to downtown Brooklyn, also not too far from downtown Brooklyn, is Costco, and the Jewish boy has to go to Costco. It's part of the religion. And I stopped over there on Atlantic Avenue, and I saw these little beautiful bakeries and these new restaurants and all this great things. So you, Marty, over your years, forget these terrible things about term limits, but I mean, Brooklyn is transformed.
Yeah,
you know,
we're absolutely thrilled, and we deserve every bit of it and more. Let me just paint the picture. What I see. That's what I see. Many thousands of new residents will be moving to Brooklyn. There's no question about it. With all the development that is occurring residential side. Secondly, I see the synergy. The center of New York City, some would argue, is Midtown Manhattan. Certainly I can't disagree. But I see another synergy in New York City, and that is the downtowns. And that is the role of the two downtowns will be playing with each other. And the increasing numbers of folks that will be living residentially in downtown Manhattan, that will be traveling to Brooklyn increasingly for their entertainment, recreation, and for their retail needs. I really see that happening. In fact, we're a lot closer to downtown Brooklyn's a lot closer to downtown Manhattan than Midtown is, and it's easier to get to. So I see that playing off. And then we've got something to sell in Brooklyn, and that is that the rich quality of residential life surrounding your downtown business area. You know, most downtowns at night, it's abandoned. But here in downtown Brooklyn, my God, you can live there. And the important thing is the people that live there are people of affluence and people that are very poor and everything in between. And we're doing everything we can to keep that rich income diversity as well as ethnic diversity. You're right about keeping the small mom and pop stores because that defines Brooklyn. And yet, the big retailers wouldn't be interested unless the demand was there, and it is there. It is there for bigger retailers because we're losing all those jobs and business to the suburbs rather than keep it right here in New York City and in Brooklyn. So and then you got the other part of downtown, which you can't ignore, the universities.
I mean, Brooklyn has
part.
70...
The cultural opportunities that are there, unbelievable. The number of, the quality of hospital care. When you mix it all up, and plus close proximity to Manhattan, and great star hotels like the Brooklyn Marriott, who, by the way, if there's anyone to blame with addition to all these new hotels that are coming to Brooklyn, blame this man.
I'm not blaming.
Because they see him, I mean, I'm thrilled, but they see Josh Muss, and they say, you know what? He did it, we can do it. And so the demand is there to build new hotels, not just 5-star level, but more modest price as well, which I'm happy to say. So, and increasing number of tourists coming to Brooklyn, which you can't ignore either. All of that mix is making Brooklyn the apple of everyone's eye in the country.
I mean, I agree with you. This Sunday, my wife and I, we took a ride, Costco, other things, and then we went over to Red Hook to go to Fairway. and the fairway is magnificent.
That's great.
And then I saw that IKEA being built.
Yep.
I mean, what's going on in the downtown Brooklyn or the surrounding area is fantastic. And what's going to happen when your property is completed and when the Brooklyn Bridge Park is completed is really important. And you know, hearing in the grapevine that JCPenney will possibly move to the Fulton Mall area. I think that's a real thing. And you mentioned
I'm hoping for Nordstrom's. I think Brooklyn has been ready for Nordstrom's, but I think Nordstrom's is getting ready for Brooklyn.
Now, are we talking a regular Nordstrom's, or are we talking maybe a Nordstrom's
You know what?
rack?
Listen,
Saks or Fifth.
Listen to me. I'd love to see all of them. All of the above. But whichever one it is, I think they're going to do an unbelievable business. And I promised Trader Joe's that when they move to Brooklyn, this is going to be their top store, or one of the top 5 in the country, just like downtown Target is one of the top in America.
You know,
you know, the interesting thing about downtown Brooklyn, it's in the middle of extraordinary neighborhoods. Within a half-a-mile circumference, you have Dumbo, you have Brooklyn Heights, you have Cobble Hill, you have Boerum Hill, you have Fort Greene, and they're all right around downtown Brooklyn. And you're talking about a 15-minute walk in every direction. So not only is the new population coming in, but the existing population has never had a focus. One of Brooklyn's problems, general Brooklyn, there is this not this one major Rodeo Drive or Madison Avenue. And that's coming, because there are a lot of affluent people over there.
I mean, when public REITs make decisions to go into all over in urban, but to go to downtown Brooklyn, to go to Canarsie, to go to Sheepshead Bay, to go to Inwood, I mean, this is a commitment to the area. But, you know, we were talking prior to the show, there was the approval for office space, and Ken's going to build 120,000 square feet of office space. And how much office space do you have, Josh?
We have an ability to develop a site which can be about 400,000 or 500,000 square feet.
And your existing office space is how many square feet?
We have, Renaissance Plaza has 900,000 square feet. It's fully leased.
But let's talk about the new office space. You know, people don't realize, and I think Marty was saying it before the show, that, you know, you get great incentives for going to downtown Brooklyn. The REIT benefits, right? The other benefits. I mean, with Midtown Manhattan rents averaging $80 a foot for a building, and an A building even more, you can go into downtown Brooklyn and pay what, Josh?
The rents right now for the A buildings are close to $40 a square foot.
But if you take into consideration the credits that you can get, the REIT benefit credits, and
then a building can be built. The REIT benefits, the other incentives can reduce your rent by about $20 a square foot.
So effectively, you can go there for $20 a foot. Now, on one of my segments, which may air this weekend on WINS, I talk about nonprofits who have been forced out of Midtown Manhattan, who were then forced out of Lower Manhattan because they went to Lower Manhattan, who have relocated to 177 Livingston Street. A number of them have gone there, and some of them have gone up to the Bronx. And I think that maybe of the new 120,000 square feet that you're planning, nonprofits or governmental agencies will go there. Yeah. I think they need it. Now, what type of stores do you see going in your 70,000 square feet of space?
You know, the way we've kind of allocated it is we want to make sure that the tenants that we have are ancillary to both the apartments above as well as the community and the park. So we've kind of left a chunk of about 15 to 30,000 square feet for a local market, and that market would be similar to the higher end markets that you've seen around that also have prepared foods so people can go in and get meals, both office workers as well as people, patrons of the park and local community. And then we also have space allocated for restaurants, which will afford outdoor seating because we have easements around the entire building, which are waterfront.
We have very few of in this city.
Right. And
excuse me?
We have very few restaurants that have waterfront views, really, so few in this city.
And it's been amazing. We haven't actually brought the retail on until recently, and the amount of interest in that type of retail with the waterfront access, even though the park isn't completed yet, is phenomenal. So we have the corners for restaurants. We also have flex space that we're looking towards uses like ice cream shops, bicycle stores. Really stores that can both, add benefit to the unit owners above and the people within walking distance and parking.
What about the hospitality? We joked about it, and Josh is the premier hotel in Brooklyn, and there are at least 14, maybe 20 hotels planned for downtown Brooklyn, ranging from, a 40-room
boutique,
with
a shower in the bedroom.
Right?
In the bedroom. I don't get it, but
right, a shower in the bedroom. I agree. No,
I don't understand. But they give you a curtain. They told me they give you a curtain.
They give an icebox too, Molly. There's an icebox. They get
very efficient.
It's very efficient.
I don't know.
I've been to the St. Chang's Hotel at 373. It is that small, but you can't get in. Josh, the three of us can't get into the room. Ken, you can get in. We can't get in. But the question is, do you see these hotels being able to, do you think Josh and Marty and Ken and Ian, do you think all of these that are on the planning stages will happen?
I see that obviously sooner or later they come to my door, and I think there's a significant possibility that it's going to happen.
I see a number of them. I
think they serve different markets. The Hotel Blue, obviously it's going to be a very special person, that wants this kind of different type of service, and will appeal to a different market, I think, than a Marriott or the other hotels that have been announced. Some will want the proximity, for instance, being near the arena will be important for many people in the future, I believe, as we develop Atlantic Yards and the arena area. Some want closer proximity to Manhattan. Some are visiting family. I still hope, by the way, and Josh, and this is where, I only have 2 years left as borough president, but I must tell you that I really believe that with companies like Colgate-Palmolive, it bothers me. It does bother me. I don't think anyone really approached them and said to Colgate, listen, why are you thinking of Jersey when a few minutes away you can be in downtown Brooklyn, have all the amenities of downtown Brooklyn and be right near a separate power grid in Brooklyn than Manhattan. All of these amenities, and yet they're thinking about Jersey. It just bothers me.
I think there's a bit of a perception problem. Right now, downtown Brooklyn is hot because of its retail, because of its residential, because of its hospitality. And people are forgetting that it is one subway stop from Manhattan. It has tremendous access, and the views are unsurpassed.
Right, of course.
So, but this is listen. Downtown Brooklyn still is in infancy as a new development site. For about 100 years, it stood static, and then about 15 years ago, it started coming up with the Metrotech and with the other developments, and it's still in its infancy. So. There will be a lot of more office development. It's a matter of cycles.
But do you think there'll be as much as that was originally approved for?
You know something, the ground in Brooklyn is as good as the ground in Manhattan. The ceiling has been broken. The buildings can go very tall. If in fact the users are there, the buildings will be built.
Michael, keep in mind, first to answer your question, there are always deals that are slated that aren't going to happen, and there's a lot of economic turmoil right now, so I'm sure you'll talk about over the next few months deals that don't happen. But in Brooklyn, you have, on its own, the 4th largest city in America. And so if you were doing the Stoller report on the 5th largest city, you wouldn't ask, is another hotel going to happen? Sure, it's going to. Whether or not those specific ones happen, we'll see. And as it relates to office, there needs to be more Class A office in downtown Brooklyn, and then with that, everyone who wants to live in downtown Brooklyn is going to want to work there as well. And so there's still crossover to Manhattan, but there'll also be the opportunity to live, work, go to school, the arts, the entertainment, all in downtown Brooklyn.
I want to add one other thing. There is a bright star, and that is on Court Street. You know, we haven't mentioned a word about Court Street. There sits Court Street. I hate to say it, but most of the buildings there are, I wouldn't call them the most beautiful kept office buildings. But I must tell you that Stephen Green, he bought one. And I believe that will spur on now on Court Street.
Let me tell you,
either owners that are there do something and make their buildings Class A, or just sell and bring some of
we were the next highest bidder. We just missed.
No, but
it's a great opportunity.
No, but I think I'm happy you brought it up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the real estate business, but you're in every business. But the idea of S.L. Green Realty to make a commitment to buy 16 Court Street really was a statement. And Josh was the second bidder, and there were a couple of other REITs interested. There were a lot of international investors who at one time would say, I'm going to go to Brooklyn? What's Brooklyn? I mean, I remember doing shows, and people said, no, we don't go to Jersey City, we don't go to Long Island City, and we don't go to Brooklyn. I said, you don't know what you're missing. And I think that is a fact, and I think they will fix up that building, because 16 Court Street, 26 Court Street need
32,
work.
44.
They need a little work. I mean, it's a little aged.
They are,
and I think what you're doing, hey, look, let's be realistic, Ken. I grew up and I went to school downtown Brooklyn. You know, it was the RKO Albee. Then I remember they made it a mall over there, which the only thing was a Toys R Us that I still remember over there. And it was just really a failure.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. And the only thing has stayed over there in the reality is juniors.
Right.
No, but it's a strong business area, and it's serving
It's a great
the public.
business area.
It is serving the public. It is currently serving the public. It's a very successful shopping experience. What we're suggesting is that with the new development, there will be additional retail offering different shopping experiences and all commingling in a great reflection of what Brooklyn is.
I think Brooklyn,
what Brooklyn is.
I think the time has come, you know, growing up in Brooklyn many years ago, not many years ago.
Come on, you're not.
No, I mean, you're older than me. Okay, Josh is older too, so I feel like the kid over here.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, thank you, Josh. Brooklyn has evolved, and its time has come. And I think what you've done, Marty, in your municipal roles for years, and as borough president, and what Josh has done, what Ian's doing, and what Ken's doing is going to do great. And I think people should they should walk over the Brooklyn Bridge. The greatest experience I still remember about a year and a half ago, a year ago, my wife walked on the Avon Walk. We walked over, so I raised money. I had to walk over. I walked over the Manhattan Bridge first, and then we walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, and then we stayed at Brooklyn Bridge Park because that's where they had their lunch, and it's great. And people love walking over the Brooklyn Bridge. And, you know, it's dynamic, and it's really a great thing.
Although we still get questions when they walk over the bridge, because we have a kiosk there during the summer. Are there any restaurants on this side of the bridge?
Wait a second, is there a toll?
no
okay.
tolls. But they ask, some people actually ask, are there any restaurants?
We got to leave, they told me. I would like to thank my guests, because we are talking about the best borough. I don't care.
There's no question. The city of Brooklyn.
The city of Brooklyn. I'd like to thank the cheerleader of Brooklyn, Borough President Marty Markowitz, Ken Bernstein, Ian Levine, and Josh Muss. Next week, we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. Everything ready for the three of us over here, senior housing in the region. See you next week. Thank you.
Major funding for this program is provided by grants from HSH Nordbank and First American Title Insurance Company of New York, Perfect Building Maintenance, Allied Partners, Murray Hill Properties, Bank of America, SJP Properties, Greenberg Traurig. Additional funding for this program is made possible by grants from Arbor Realty Trust, BRT Realty Trust, Burden LLP, C.B. Richard Ellis, City Habitats, City Investment Fund, Cushman & Wakefield, Eastern Consolidated, Essex Capital Partners, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, MASSEY KNAKAL Realty Services, Meridian Capital Group, McSam Hotel Group, Muss Development LLC, Newmark Knight Frank, PALIN Enterprises, Rosenthal & Rosenthal, Inc., Signature Bank, Sidney Fettner Associates, Studley, Stonehenge Partners, SWIG Equities, Extreme Contracting and Deconstruction.